Hello, and welcome back to Inconsequential Souls. So today, I have quite a bit to cover. This is going to be a long one. So I briefly want to go over cheaters. I'm not going to give a whole bunch of time to that. It's just affected me in a way where I got to talk about it. Here we go again with the early access. I'm definitely going to rant about that. More of a discussion format, and the new DLC weapons and animations. All stuff that I'm excited for, especially like the backstabs, repulse. Just speculation. I'm not sure exactly what's going to be changed in the upcoming patches with the DLC updates, but I'm going to speak briefly about, well, maybe at length. I got a lot to cover, so let's just get into it. Okay, so first of all, cheaters. Now, as anyone in my channel knows, I compete at Pontiff a lot in duels and PvP, and I just recently started doing invasions. Now, alright, so I wanted to go in with my anti-shade, and I used to clear out fight clubs like twice over. But suddenly I started having a problem even winning a single match. And as you'll see in the following videos, like, I win maybe 2 videos out of, like, this entire, like, discussion. Like, I'm not joking with you. And I'll kind of go over what it is, but just pay attention to this fight. And you'll basically see the problem that I've been running into. Now, this is exaggerated. Like, don't think that I've been running into people like that all the time. That's just that kind of put me on the right path to what was happening. Okay, so I had a discussion with my fellow anti-shades, and somebody asked, how have you guys been doing with your bloodshade hunting, etc., etc. And I was kind of like, this is when he asked me when things started to kind of go bad. So prior to that, I used to clear out fight clubs like twice over, and I noticed that even during that whole thing where I was clearing it out, when I started to go to them much later on, there was always like this one guy who was also clearing out fight clubs too. And so the natural thing would be for us to fight each other, and then, I would usually win. But things started to get a little weird, and I'll kind of go into detail about why that is. And I'll try to keep it short. I'll try to finish it by the time this fight finishes, and if not, I'll just kind of close up as quickly as possible and move on to the next subject. Okay, so what I noticed is this is a habit that I picked up from Dark Souls 2. Now, in Dark Souls 2, I was usually the victim of latency, which meant that I could be hit by my opponents a lot, even though I felt like I was dodging at perfect times and all that. So I kind of adapted to that. The problem that I still had was actually landing hits. So one technique that I came up with was I call spot checking a person, where you anticipate what they're going to do and you kind of attack before they get to the place that you expect them to be, and basically get your hits in that way. So I've been applying the same principle to Dark Souls 3, and it seems like I cannot I can't do it anymore. It's sort of like, even when I'm attacking somebody whilst they're attacking, I still don't get my hits in. So to close it up, basically, my suspicion is that people have been using speed boosting hacks. So it's like something that allows them to, 1, animation cancel, and 2, I guess, attack slightly faster. So I notice anytime I'm getting hits, either I'm trading or I'm being beat out. Which is strange to me, because I'm thinking either I got downloaded overnight, cleaning out those fight clubs, or, I suddenly got bad at Dark Souls. I didn't know. But once, I guess this guy kind of gave me the telltale signs, and I'm putting up quotations, of what was happening, I kind of lost my edge and stopped being competitive. I don't know, it's been really tough for me to take matches seriously. And so you'll mostly see me sandbagging, because it's sort of one of the things. It's like, I improve in Dark Souls games by trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong. But if I can't be sure if I'm even doing anything wrong, like it kind of puts me in this limbo where I'm just doing things just to do them. So naturally, I would want to take a break from Dark Souls, but the DLC's coming out. I'm not gonna miss out on my opportunity to, contribute to the Dark Souls community like I've always been trying to do. And yeah, I'm not gonna let this discourage me. But the only thing is, like, now I'm wondering, should I even play online? You know, I'm kind of like, I'm in a I'm at a standstill right now. Like, I'm not sure what I want to do. So just for now, like, I'm thinking, just go through the motions. But I don't know. Like, I don't like, the cheating is starting to get to me to the point where I'm just like, because the competitive edge of PvP is like trying to constantly improve. But it's like I said, like, if I don't know if I'm doing anything wrong and the only way I'm losing is because I'm not getting fair fights, and so I'm not getting accurate reads on how weapons actually work and stuff like that, it puts me at a loss. So I don't really know where I'm going to go from here with that. But I guess I'll just go through the motions. But I really wanted my newer content to be exciting and fresh. But I can only be as, I guess, I can only have the integrity from which the community allows. So there's that. I don't really want to get too much into it. But that segues right into my other complaint. Here we go again. So I go to try to get some extra information on the new weapons and items from the DLC, and there's already Let's Plays of the Ashes of Ariandel DLC up on YouTube. Now, I'm not gonna watch it, so I mean, I guess it's not really going to affect me as far as being spoiled to anything. But it's one of the things, it's like, here we go again with not starting on the same page. We're going to have that same nonsense going on where people are ahead of each other and all that. And it's like, I'm so sick of not being on this level playing field. But I'm not going to talk too much about it. It's just one of the things where it's annoying that every freaking, like, when the first vanilla game came out, people were on it, and it's like we couldn't even grow up together in there. Now we're going to have the DLC coming out, and then everybody's going to be giving out all of these guides about how to find this character and that character and how to find this weapon and that weapon. And there's going to be no room for anybody else who was interested in doing that. So rather than the guy who legitimately finds the secret first, because we all had the game at the same time, being able to, get his little reward for, like, being the first guy to do it, nope, it's left up to all these people who got early access. I don't know, man. Like, it's annoying, and it's one of the things where it's just like, I don't even really have words at this point. It's just, I just wanted to rant about it because I am sick of it. Like, I already know it's going to be like that with the other one. So, whatever. Like, I was really hoping to, be one of the first people to start, like, posting content. But that's not going to happen, obviously. So, whatever. Alright. So, let's start talking about these weapons. Now, I'm going to do things kind of out of order. I wanted to talk about the weapons themselves, but there's a lot of detail that's going to go into that. So what I'm more interested in are these patch updates and, and these, I guess, changes to weapon animations. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I'll tell you what I'm kind of looking forward to. Now, again, I can't say specifically, no one can at this point except for the people who have early access. But at this point, I'm kind of figuring that the sneak peek that we got from the DLC, well, not necessarily the DLC, but the arena that's coming with the DLC, I suspect that we're kind of getting a glimpse as to the direction that the game is planning to go into. And one of the things I noticed that stood out, mostly was this sword and shield combo. Now, I think it was called like the lion's shield, sword and shield, something to do with the lion's something. I'll get the I'll get the proper name for it later. But yeah, so there's this sword and shield combo, and it really reminded me of the fighting style of Achilles from the Troy movie, of his attacking whilst also defending at the same time. And I always kind of wanted to make an Achilles build back in Dark Souls 2, but it was kind of novelty because his style was very specific. Like basically the whole philosophy about it was to attack and defend at the same time and overwhelm your opponent, because of course he was very strong. So it wasn't just, attack and defend at the same time. That wasn't enough. Like, attack, defend, and overpower your opponent. So he was strong enough to where he could block attacks with ease and basically make the opponent's, I guess, sword recoil or create distance by backing them up. And when he attacked your shield, he really came down on it. So it was sort of like a very powerful technique that required the wielder or the person executing the moves to be powerful. And I really liked that. And duplicating that style in Dark Souls 2 was kind of impossible. I went for the novelty, but it didn't last very long. I had the spear with a sort of like a Spartan type look to my character. And, I had a lot of fun with it, but, like my spears and swords don't have the tracking of other players. I don't know. Like, I could never figure out how the tracking was so good when they would attack with those spears and stuff. And I would just, like, an opponent could run circles around me, and I would literally be, like, attacking with the spear, and it would, like, totally miss them. So maybe it's like some trick with like fighting unlocked or whatever. I don't know. Like I never got into it, so it didn't last very long. Like I think that character lasts for about 30 matches in the arena, and then I kind of just said, this isn't for me. And it's mostly because I was looking for that whole Achilles play style, and it's just like I was getting beat up so much. I was like, there's no way that this could be Achilles. Like I'm just making him look too bad. So I kind of just scrapped the whole thing. But it was fun while it lasted. So as far as these animations are concerned, so I'm basing this entire discussion on this portion, of the video on that sword and shield combo. Now the reason that I'm doing that is I know I brought up Achilles, but I want to bring up another character, and it's Sophatia from the Soul Calibur series. Now, Sophatia doesn't really have Achilles style, but one of the things I noticed is her very clean and very disciplined, crisp swinging and attacking and very precise stabbing motions. I noticed that weapon combo kind of had that same fluidity as like Sophatia's fighting style from Soul Calibur, I'm referring mostly to Soul Edge, but most people would understand what Soul Calibur is, so I'm kind of using that as a reference point. But yeah, in Soul Calibur, I think she was kind of the same. I felt like her style was a little cleaner in Soul Edge. That could be nostalgia talking, I don't know. But yeah, I noticed that the way that sword swung was a lot different from the other straight swords that we've seen in game. I mean, obviously, because a majority of them are basically the same weapon but just better versions. So my whole point is, I'm thinking that, and I'm using straight swords as an example. I have a suspicion that all weapons are going to get this kind of treatment, but I'm suspecting that the attack animations for a lot of the weapons that are sort of like copy pastes of each other are probably gonna get some kind of overhaul with how it is they swing. And if I recall correctly, I believe some of the weapons that were in the same class in Dark Souls 2 had different attack animations. Matter of fact, if I recall correctly, a lot of the great swords had different swings. Now, I believe that that's the same case in Dark Souls 3. I haven't used enough great swords to tell you one way or the other. I fought most of them, and it seemed to me a majority of the difference was in the weapon arts that they had, and the rolling attacks that they had, and okay, the running attacks too. I noticed that a lot of those were different. Yeah, but as far as like fundamental attack animations, like I couldn't tell you. They seem, because I usually fight greatsword users the same way. They seem the same. The only difference I would say would probably be the Hollow Slayer greatsword, and I think I fought the Drake Blood greatsword before. And they're pretty much how they were in Dark Souls 2, with the kind of choppy, snippy, like I don't know, it's like a nice whipping wrist motion at the end of each swipe. It looks really clean, and I like how the animation, but it's obviously different from other great swords. But I don't know, a person who's a great sword user might be able to be a little bit more specific about that. Okay, so what I'm saying is I'm guessing that a lot of the weapons that basically just have the same animations are probably going to get an overhaul. Now, if that's the case, that's really exciting because, visually it'll be a little bit more appealing to see, weapons attacking differently, and I don't know, I guess that might also increase or decrease combo potential for a lot of weapons. So, because I noticed like a lot of weapons aren't guaranteed combos. I noticed that a lot of times you could attack somebody with a sword, and some of them would be a direct, like a guaranteed combo. Like you're automatically gonna get that second hit as long as you attack immediately after. But then I noticed some weapons don't obey that same rule, where just because you hit them the first time doesn't mean you're gonna get the second. So I don't know. I haven't really delved deep into what weapons work that way and which ones don't. But I've done enough PvP to know that that's a rule, and I'm not sure what it applies to specifically. So this is me just talking from experience of fighting other types of weapons. But okay, quick thing I want to throw out. So one of the things I noticed, and this kind of goes into the cheating. Now, I'm not accusing anyone of cheating in these specific videos other than the obvious cheater. But one of the things that I noticed was I would do the because this is a perfect example. Okay, so I would do the little Farron sweep, and I would notice that I would hit people with the attack that kind of stuns you for a while, but then they were able to. Okay, so he didn't escape, but usually I would do that, and then they would be able to just kind of roll out of it. As a matter of fact, one of the main things and I don't have video footage of this, but the main problem I was having was you would have another person who was a great sword user who I used to completely crush when I first started doing the fight clubs, to kind of improve the anti-shade. And, I would basically just destroy them. Like other great sword users, before, I don't know, either we had a patch or people downloaded me. I don't know what happened. But, like I would destroy other great sword users. Like they didn't even stand a chance against me with it. Like I was under the impression that the Farron great sword was the best great sword, like hands down. But one of the things I noticed was that a lot of them were just tanking through it. Like I would hit them and they would hyper armor through it at very weird points of the attack to stop it, and then they would get their second hit whilst I was still following up, and it would track me and then hit me again. So I would basically lose like 3/4 of my life, and they would only take, minor damage. And I noticed it was consistent. Like it wasn't a thing where they would do it every once in a while. Like they were consistently doing it. no matter how many adjustments I made, no matter what part of the attack animation that I decided to execute it through, they would always poise through it. And as far as I know, using great swords in my limited knowledge, the hyper armor for great swords is very specific and very cruel. Like, you got to get it at the right time. So the fact that they were kind of just doing it whatever they wanted, it made me like kind of be like, okay, well, it's not. I don't even want to be competitive anymore. Like, let's just go through the motions. So yeah, as you're gonna see, a lot of this is me just saying whatever. Like, I don't even know how to get better because I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Like, my weapon's supposed to do this, but it's just not doing it. Who knows? I don't know what's going on. So, on these animations, it would be really cool. So, of course, like the Farron Greatsword doing stuff like this. No other Greatsword has that. So, it makes it unique, and I like cool stuff like that. So, I'm kind of looking forward to the animation. But this is the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to. So, I kind of saved these two for last. Are repulse and backstabs. Okay. Now, I saved this for last as far as animations is concerned because I really wanted daggers to get their animation back that they used to have from Dark Souls 2. Now, the reason that is because I kind of feel like, the crit damage that they do is fine. Like, I kind of think that at this point, like, they're where they're supposed to be as far as crits is concerned. But the cool thing about the backstabs and repulse in Dark Souls 2 with daggers was that if you backstab someone, it counted as 2 attacks, and the damage was kind of split. The benefit of that in Dark Souls 2 is that if you had some kind of debuff effect on there, you would get to activate it twice. Also, if you had like some sort of accessory that allowed you to do criticals, you would have the potential of getting that critical twice. So daggers had a really unique quality to them. Now, there's some weapons that also had it, but you know what I mean, where the daggers, like, I know that because those are like the weapons that I use the most in Dark Souls 2. But because, bleed is like so good in Dark Souls 3, like using a bandit's knife over, another bleed weapon is actually like a thing to consider. It's just like, well, if I get the crits on this, I have a higher chance of inflicting bleed or poison or whatever. Or if you have some sort of lightning buff, you get to activate the strength of like the weakness against lightning twice. A bunch of cool stuff like that. So yeah, I'm wondering if that's the thing they're going to do. I would really love to see something like that. Another thing is the, the stab animations and the crushing animations. Like, I noticed that, like, with the scythe, I thought it was kind of strange how, a person would stab the scythe into their opponents, like in Dark Souls 1. I'm wondering if that's a thing where, like, if you have a scythe weapon, they're going to have their own types of repulse, where instead of it being like Dark Souls, 1 where they kind of just stab you with it, which I always thought was really weird, but whatever. It has its own, really specific repulse. And that's another thing is because there's so many types of command grabby, type of animations that you can work with. I mean, if I recall correctly, like, a lot of the enemies have, like, special grabs where they lift you in the air for a few seconds and then throw you. Like, I don't see why scythes couldn't have their own specific animation. Like, that would be cool. I don't know. Yeah, I think that was an example of what I was talking about. But anyway, I'm moving on. So, yeah, I'm thinking, like, if scythes had, like, maybe, like, the combo from Dark Souls 2 that, I would say straight swords used to have, where it would be like this little small combo and then they would finish you off with like a final hit. Or maybe it could even be something unique where, they kind of just stab it into you and then rip it out, and then it'd have like a similar type of flare, like the For now, I'm just gonna call it the Bewitched Katana because it reminds me of the sword from Dark Souls 2, the Bewitched sword that you get from Sir Alan. I'm not sure what the name of that is in Dark Souls 3, but it's this weapon that to get the buff of it, you stab it into yourself and you pull it out. So I'm thinking like that would be cool if Scythes had an animation like that where you stab them with it, and then the repulse part where you do damage is like you kind of rip it out and then create like this little arc of blood, that gives it like a little stylish flair to it. And I'm guessing all weapons would be cool if they had that. And like little hand axes have their own specific animation. And then, okay, so this is what I wanted to talk about. So I would really like to see the backstab animation from Dark Souls 2 make a return, where a person who is using like a great hammer or like a great club would kick your leg out from underneath of you and then kind of just lift the club up and then just crush you under it. I loved that animation so much. I would love to see that make a return, especially in Dark Souls 3, because it would be so funny. And I was kind of curious as to why that wasn't. Like of course it would have to be the critical backstab maybe. I don't know, because I'm thinking like, from what I can tell, the backstab animations using the Hornet's Ring are specific to how far you send your enemy flying. So, I don't know. Like, I'm thinking, like, this would be an opportunity to just give that ability to very specific weapons and kind of allow some backstabs that are, I would say, affected by the Hornet's Ring to have their own specific thing they do. Like, I guess the ones that have the highest potential to kill that aren't like dex weapons, or the ones that are more lightweight, can probably just crush you and then they'll be fine, because more than likely you're gonna die unless you've got like a ridiculously stacked amount of health, and leave the kicking opponent off and them rolling to like weapons that have the lesser potential for killing, like daggers and short swords and I won one. Yeah, short swords and, all that other type of stuff. But, I don't know, this is all speculation, but I wanted to discuss it because I really miss a lot of the backstab and repulse animations from Dark Souls 2. Now, I'm definitely glad that the repulse from Dark Souls 2 that makes you sit on your butt is pretty much gone. But I did think that it would be cool to have a very specific weapon or item that kind of does that, because it was pretty neat because it allowed you to do combos. Like a popular one that most people probably know about without me even getting specific is the repulsed into it's not called the profaned flame. I think it was called Flame Swaft. So basically, Flame Swaft is similar to the Profane Flame explosion. They're pretty similar. It was just that Flame Swath was a little more terrible. But one combo people had was they would repulse you, they would execute Flame Swath, and then right when it blew up and you took damage, they would repulse you at the same time. So my whole point is that it would kind of be cool to see a very specific weapon have the ability to do something cool like that. And another thing too is that what made that neat was that shields had repulse too. So I'm thinking like it would be cool, because I thought it was pretty neat to take a shield when a person was kind of knocked off balance, and then just take it upside their head. That was really cool in Dark Souls 2. I gotta admit that, doing a repulse with a shield. So I don't know, like I miss a lot of stuff that Dark Souls 2 introduced to the series. So this idea of like these different animations is actually cool, and I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, so we got our backstabs, we got our repulse, and then we have our potentially unique attack animations for different weapons and stuff. So if that's going to be a thing, I'm definitely looking forward to it. But this brings me to some of the newer weapons that we got a chance to see. Now, I'm assuming that the hold on, I want to talk about this. Okay, so another thing that I noticed is I just recently started doing the Aldrich Faithful I would say invasions, and I'm not sure about what levels you kind of compete with, because I noticed with a lot of the stronger weapons, or like for example that lightning lance that guy has, like I noticed that I take an extreme amount of damage from that. So I'm wondering what the level cap kind of is for this. Like, do I spawn in like 20 levels lower, or I'm not sure about it. I haven't done enough of these types of invasions to know, but it did kind of have me questioning things. Like, and again, like I'm kind of iffy about being competitive because it's one of the things where it's just like I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But maybe the DLC will motivate me to kind of take PvP a little bit more seriously, because the arena is going to be a thing, and I don't have to worry about attacking my friends. So I don't know. Like, for now, I'm kind of jaded. Like, that whole instance with me making the anti-shade, like, really kind of it took the wind out of my sails, I would say. And it's just like I'm kind of like I mean, I don't know whether this person's just good. I don't know. Like, for example, like that. I don't know if it's that person's good or if I just got unlucky. Who knows? But anyhow, so let's start talking about some of these weapons. All right. So give me 1 sec. Okay. So we have like Quakestone Hammer. So yeah, if you wanted to read some of these, just go ahead and pause the video to check some of them out. But I thought some of these were interesting. So we have all of these new weapons that have these really cool. Okay, so this is the so it's called the Valor Heart. Okay, I'm sorry, I thought it was the lion sword and shield or whatever. But you see how it has lion stance? Like, what is lion stance? Like, this is crazy. We're getting all of this new stuff that is not in the vanilla game, and it's kind of reminding me of the whole revolutionary abilities that the Bone Fist introduced into the arena, way back in Dark Souls 2. Now this, I want to talk about these crow quills later. This is one of the weapons I'm more interested in. I'm gonna focus on that one a little later, but I'm just gonna give you an opportunity to see a lot of these weapons. Pause the video if you want to take a better look at them. A lot of them are interesting, like especially their weapon arts. But we're gonna talk about that crow quills. I just want to give you a moment to find your favorite your favorite weapon and kind of get an opportunity to look at it, see how it scales, what kind of build you're probably gonna have to make in advance. Because like for me, this is my session where I start cooking. I'm like, okay, I'm going to need 12 dex for this, and I'm going to need 13 strength for that. I just start kind of mentally thinking of what it is that I'm going to do. Crow Talons is another weapon that I'm kind of interested in. Now, the Follower Torch, even though it's cool, not really something that I'm interested in now. But I don't know. I might be surprised later down the road. But this one, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. I like what it does. Not really interested at the moment. This Millwood Great Bow, though, definitely interested in that. For another character that I have. But yeah, for now, I'm just enjoying the show. I'm like, okay, I see a lot of this cool stuff. Earthseeker, all right, and it has like Earth and Wrath. Like, what are these skills? Frozen Weapon. Another thing that I'm going to talk about in a later video. Not right now, but I kind of made a video talking about cryomancy. And now I kind of get to elaborate on that a little bit more. And of course, we've seen the Way of Light Corona. The little discus that kind of has a boomerang effect. That's going to be really cool. Depending on how effective it is. But I'm kind of feeling like with this coming DLC, they kind of have a lot of information, and they're probably going to do something with it to make PvP a little better for everyone all around. But I don't know, you never know. Like they've got a long time, because of the spacing between the updates and the patches. They have quite a while to really kind of give us the final product that they want. And I'm thinking they're using a lot of the information that they're getting to do that, hopefully. Okay, so yeah. We've seen some of the newer stuff. Okay. So let's start talking about these crow quills. Now, we're going to get into very specific details about that very specific weapon. But right now, I just kind of want to touch on it because it has me really excited. Because, all right, so for anyone who's watched my my Let's Play, you know that when I got to the Karthus catacombs, that's probably where I did the most of my whining. Now, a lot of my whining was because of how cheesy some of the enemies were, and the fact that mostly I didn't know what I was doing, and I was kind of getting frustrated because I was like, I wanted to make this assassin, but it wasn't working. It worked out in the end. It worked out in the end once I started to understand the game. But, yeah, for the most part, I was kind of like, wah, wah, wah. What I felt like I had a legitimate beef was I fought some of these Karthus. I thought they were grave wardens, but I don't think that's what they're called. I'll have to get the correct name for them. But for now, let's just call them Karthus grave wardens. So I was fighting these Karthus grave wardens, and what really made me mad was the fact that they moved around like sort of like a ghost, but it was really smooth and fluid, and I don't know, like it was really like how I wanted to move. I was like, why can't I move like that? I'm the assassin here. You're just some stupid grave warden. And these crow quills, they look like they're gonna give me the ability to do that. I really wish I had the Hornet Ring at that point. I could have closed that out, but I had to wait. That character is still being worked on. But yeah, these crow quills, like I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I can finally. So this is my struggle. I'm not sure if I want to go ahead and equip those crow quills to my assassin character that already exists, because I felt as though he should have had that already. And I kind of covered. Man, I covered a lot of this stuff, man. It's a lot of content on my channel where I covered some of these really amazing things that we're seeing now. But yeah, I was thinking that it would have been cool to have a dagger-like weapon in the game. I think I talk about it in my Dagger Arts 2 video. It's either Dagger Arts 2. Yeah, I think I only made a Dagger Arts 2. But yeah, in my Dagger Arts 2 videos, one of the very first videos that I made, you can't miss it. I don't recommend watching it, mind you, but I'm just bringing it up because I did discuss it. Yeah, in my Dagger Arts 2 video, I talk about how it would be cool to have a dagger weapon that affected how throwing knives work. Now, that being the case, let's not hold back anymore. Let's talk about these crow quills. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we get a little lore behind it. So basically, it's something from some Corvian Knights, and I'll check that out later. But mostly, I want to look at basically the stat requirements. So it looks like it's a low stat requirement dagger that at least at +6, it has beast scaling and dexterity. Now it looks like I'll have to have a minimum of knife strength to wield it, but the main thing that I'm really enjoying is it has a standard dagger critical attack, the 130 critical modifier. Like that basically is what sold me on the weapon. Now, of course, the other thing is its weapon art, which is called Quill Dart. And it's very similar to how the Grave Wardens jump up in the air and throw the knives at you. Now, I'm not sure how effective it's going to be, but it's seeming like a natural counter to the weapon art for the Onikiri and Obadachi. You know what I'm talking about, the two twin katanas. I really hate that I hate that weapon art. And I've been looking for a natural counter to it, but the counter that I found for it is really boring and really stupid. And it's probably what motivates a lot of people to cheat, is because the counters to like a lot of the stuff in this game kind of make it unfun. Now, there's very few examples. Like, one of the things I like to counter with greatswords when a person does their greatsword weapon art is I like to do shield splitter like a split second after they do it. So when the hitbox on their attack disappears, mine is still active, and I kind of outpoke them. Like, that one's really cool. But I think what motivated a lot of people to cheat, and start kind of putting speed hacks and stuff into into the PvP scene. Because I understand, I'm not taking credit for this, in like some kind of arrogant format. It's just that I noticed, like, as soon as I made my anti-shade, that somehow I got introduced to this whole cheat culture. Now, understand, in Dark Souls 2, I couldn't get away from cheating. Like, everywhere I turned, somebody was cheating or lag switching or whatever. And I tried to stay away from that whole scene because I really wanted to have a nice, fun, clean experience. Dark Souls 3, I wanted to get good and all of that. But as soon as I made this character that you're looking at right now, and I started clearing out fight clubs twice over, like, I would see the same guys, some new ones, and then I would eventually die because, I'd run out of Estus or whatever. But as soon as I did that and I took a break, because I was pretty confident, I was like, okay, I found how I'm supposed to use this anti-shade character. When I came back, it was terrible. I couldn't win a single fight. I'm not joking with you. And it wasn't for the reasons that it should be. Like, I didn't feel like I got outplayed. I didn't feel like my opponent was reading me or anything. It just felt like my attacks weren't working how they should. When I did my split-second attacking, either the person was able to run away or we would trade. And that was like the only options I had, is either trade with these people or just have them dodge. And it would kind of like make the fight drag out and stuff. Like, I didn't know what to do, is my point. Like, that was the story of things, and I didn't know what to do about it. And the thing is I promise, before this anti-shade character was a thing, and I was clearing, because I would tell you, like, I felt like at a certain point that this character was stronger than my assassin, because with my assassin, I could probably clear out a fight club maybe 1.5 times, but somebody would pull out like one of my weaknesses, like that trident, the lightning trident, the gargoyle lance, because they have really weird hitboxes and stuff, and they have like a lot of range. Or like the Black Knight Greatsword, which is a weapon that I don't know why I have so much trouble with the Black Knight Greatsword. I know there's worse weapons in this game, but for some reason that weapon is, and I'm just saying this, that weapon feels like the only weapon that a lot of times when I fight a Black Knight Greatsword user, or I forgot what it's called, but you know which one I'm talking about, I feel like I usually get outskilled. And that's one of the rare times. A lot of times when this person's using a Karthus curved sword or a dark sword, like, they're hitting you from halfway across the screen. So it's like, I don't really attribute that to skill. Because a lot of times with my assassin, I could outpoke them and I would win some and lose some. Like, if the lag was really bad and the person was really aggressive, and a lot of times when a person's really aggressive with those weapons, like, they probably know that there's a latency thing going on and they're probably abusing it. And I'm not critiquing that. Like, some people enjoy that type of play, but I don't usually like worry about fights like that. Like, usually, like, if I'm getting clipped from like halfway across the screen, I just do whatever I can to try to make the fight interesting and be competitive, but I usually don't expect to win. if the connection's a little better and they're clipping me, but it's not anything ridiculous where I'm getting comboed and like I just can't get away from you because no matter where I'm at, I'm gonna get hit. It's usually a more interesting fight, and I would put those maybe I don't know, 70-30, 70 me, you know. So yeah, like there's times when I can really appreciate the competitive nature of doing fight clubs and stuff, which is why I like sticking it around at Pontiff. But when I made this anti-shade character and I cleared out those fight clubs like twice over until I ran out of Estus, and then suddenly I can't beat anyone, and then okay, so let me tell you my suspicion. So my suspicion was that people were cheating, but I didn't want to just be like, oh, people are cheating and that's all it is to it. No. I needed to be a little bit more specific, and my guess was that people were doing some kind of animation canceling cheat. I don't know. Like, I don't use cheat engines, so I couldn't tell you what they were doing. But it seemed like, this is what I noticed, that they had a lot of animation canceling ability, and that their hitboxes would just immediately disappear as soon as they roll. So it's sort of like roll catching them was like almost impossible. And it seemed as if like their attacks, like even though they would attack after you and their spacing wasn't really all that great, they would still you would still get I can't even say outplayed. I don't even know the word for it. Like they would out attack you. Like I guess like they would have priority. There you go. Their attack would have priority when it shouldn't. And you know, I tried to attribute it to lag. Maybe there's some lag going on. Maybe we've had an update, and none of that was true. And so I kind of was just like, what is happening right now? And I didn't have any answers. But then I went to because like again, I don't know what cheat engine does. Like I've never used it. But then I fought a few people, and it felt like it was obvious. Like there was like this Onion Knight who was in a fight club, and then there was also this I don't know, like it was a person using a straight sword, and like they were just basically like swinging way too fast. Like they were swinging it so fast that I couldn't even roll away, and like my guard would break, and then they would hit me with like 3 hits. It was ridiculous. I don't want to dwell too much on it, but yes, I could tell at this point that a lot of people were cheating. But as you saw in the beginning clip, I started seeing more and more of that. And then when I started doing invasions here at Pontiff as a Aldrich Faithful, I started seeing people who use curse, people who just blatantly use the speed hacks. And I noticed that the speed hacks, this is one of the things I noticed, that a lot of the speed hackers, I was having the same problems. So I was thinking, so what must be happening is that they're using these speed hacks, or whatever it's called, I don't know. But they're doing it in a way where it's difficult to tell. So there are those cheaters that are cheating, but they're doing it in such a, I would say in such a way where you can't really tell what's happening. And like, to me, those are the worst ones, man. Like, I really don't like those guys. But like, I managed to stay away from them for a very long time. Now, as anyone can tell, before the patch updates, we kind of had problems with cheaters. I had some of it in my video. I was under the suspicion that some of the updates and stuff were kind of like anti-cheater stuff, where From Software probably updated their or Bandai Namco probably updated their cheat scanning software or their policy or whatever, and then they started kind of doing this whole ban wave thing. I don't know. I didn't hear about it. I wasn't checking for it, but because cheating hasn't been a problem for me in this game for quite a while, until I saw one popular YouTuber cheating, and I'm not going to say their name because I'm hoping this is just over and done with. Like, I want to stay as far away from that person as possible, because I just have this aching suspicion that this entire ban wave is going to just take place, and then this guy's going to get caught in a tsunami. I'm hoping he does. Like, to be honest with you, like, anybody who cheats in Dark Souls, like I have no sympathy for. So I'm hoping this guy, I'm hoping he gets banned with like this ban wave that I suspect is coming very soon. But yeah, for a while, man, like I didn't have a problem with cheaters at all. Like, the fights were just clean. I felt like I was getting better. There was even a point where I felt like I kind of mastered my assassin. But then I remembered that there's a lot of weapon combinations that I'm pretty weak against. So I wanted to fight those more. So then, you're always going to have weaknesses when you have a very specific build that isn't based on, abusing stuff like lag and hitboxes and stuff. Like, that doesn't really interest me. Like, I like earning my hits. I like feeling like... And, again, this isn't critiquing how anybody else plays. I'm talking about me specifically. I like feeling like I earn my attacks and my hits, and I like them to be precise and specific, and I like my opponent to feel like they got outplayed. I don't really enjoy the idea of winning because, like, I attacked and, no animation took place, so all they saw was me standing there, and then they just die in a burst of slashes. Like, that's not for me. I'm not talking about anybody else. People can do whatever they want. That's just me. I like the competitive nature of PvP. And I like it to be clean and honorable, and when you see me attacking, you can dodge it and all that. But that changed. It's sort of like I wasn't able to win any fights, and a lot of fights just felt uncomfortable to me. Like, I usually don't get salty when I feel like I got outplayed. It's one of the things where it's just like, oh, well, dang, this guy was good. I wasn't feeling that. I kind of felt like I'm better than these people that I'm fighting right now because they don't understand spacing, they don't understand timing, like, and I'm attacking at the time that I should. Like, I've practiced this character. Why am I failing? And it's just like I'm asking myself these questions, and I don't know, like I just got terrible because like I was like, why am I even here? And it's like I was sort of going through the motions. So as you can see, like I'm just losing fight after fight after fight. And again, I'm not attributing this to the fact that any of these people are cheating right now. It's just that it's also me. Like I like being able to put my my passion and my all into it and really get into the fights, but I haven't been able to do that lately, and it's because of the cheating that I've been running into lately. Like, I was even unsure about playing with this character because it's sort of like, the whole point was to give Bloodshades a good competitive fight, but I don't even know if any of the fights are clean anymore, so what's the point? But again, like, I tried to, I wanted to keep the whole complaint about cheating brief, and it's one section of the video, but I brought it up again because I kind of felt like I spoke about all of the things that I really wanted to talk about in the very beginning. But yeah, I wanted to kind of come back to it because of this specific area. I'm not sure about other areas of Dark Souls. Like, for most people who've seen my for most people who've seen my Assassin Arts Let's Play, you'll know that I didn't really have a problem with cheaters. Like, I ran into like a lagger once, and it was kind of like the type of lag where, because this is an invasion, I can do what I want, and I kind of just countered it with, boring the invader to death to the point where they're just like, oh, I don't even want to be here. I didn't attribute that to whether they were cheating or anything. Like, I just kind of like, I'm not dealing with this. Like, I knew enough about the game at that point to understand that it wasn't going to be a competitive fight. I didn't feel like dying to nonsense, so I basically took advantage of the tools that Dark Souls allows you to have. And it was one boring thing to play, but watching it, I kind of skipped it or whatever. But okay, so about these quills, I'm suspecting that I didn't say something specifically. The thing that attracted to me mostly is not only the weapon art that's similar to the Grave Wardens, the Karthus Grave Wardens attacks, where they throw the daggers at you. It was also, of course, the crit. Now, I'm not sure if the crit modifier is going to be on par with the dagger. You know, because I'm sure the damage is going to be in the same ballpark. What I'm saying is, at max upgraded level, is it going to be better? And the question I had, am I going to give it to my assassin and try to work it within his playstyle? Because if so, I'll have a counter. I will actually have a legitimate counter to that leaping weapon art that's really hard to punish. And I'll have a legitimate counter to the Black Knight Greatsword without having to, you know, sacrifice counters with weak throwing daggers. Like, I would really like to throw throwing daggers that do serious damage at them while they're charging up their attacks. Like, that'll be cool. So that's probably I'll probably answer my own question right there. It's like, I'm probably going to give it to my assassin. But, you know, it just, I don't know, I'm just thinking about it. Because, I don't know, I kind of feel like that character's complete. And to give them another set of weapons to kind of shuffle through, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, it might affect my roll weight. And the thing is like, if I look at it again, the weapons weight probably isn't all that much of a big deal. And, you know, I was kind of considering a parry weapon with that character to kind of increase its kill potential, but I feel like that's overdone in PvP already, and I really want that character to stand out. So I'm thinking I just want that character to just be straight skill. Like, I don't have any pocket techniques that I can one-shot you. Like, every time I kill you, it's because you made a mistake. And I like my opponents feeling like you legitimately lost that. Like, not that, oh, I got lucky and got a parry at the right time and killed you. No, I like how that character is working right now, where you die because you made a mistake. And I really like that. I don't know, it makes me feel good. I like playing that character. And I also feel like my opponents enjoy the fight too, because I think I get salty runbacks quite often. And even times I've seen opponents beat me and the fight was so close that they needed to actually see if they just got lucky or not. And then they summon me back. And then I'm just like, oh, I remember you. And then the fight is like epic because we're all given. I really miss that. But lately, haven't been able to do it, man. It's just, I don't know, fights don't feel clean anymore. Like, they really do feel, yeah, it feels like something's not right. Like, that's the best way I can explain it. And I'm saying it's feeling like people are using speed hacks at this point. I can't prove it. And again, I don't want to accuse somebody of something that they didn't do. You know, I don't like that. I think the best thing for me would have been just to take a break. But it's like I said, like, the DLC's coming out and I'm really looking forward to the arena. So, I don't know, I wanted to do a Let's Play and it's just, should I go offline or not? I guess this isn't the time or place to discuss that, but it's just something that I'm considering at the time. So, yeah, back to the weapons again. So, these crow quills, I'm definitely looking forward to those. You know I'm using that. Like, there's no second guessing about that. The second weapon that I'm most excited about is the what's it called? The Valor. I was gonna call it the Lion Sword and Shield, but I think it's called the Valor. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. We just recently saw that. I think it's called the Valor. Yeah, the Sword of Valor. But yeah, that's the second most interesting weapon to me. Like, it has me wanting to make a build specifically around that weapon. And then third, and this is only because of a weapon combination. Like, usually I like to have a backup weapon, but I'm thinking the Sword of Valor and the Follower Spear. That combination, excuse me, that combination looks really interesting to me. So I'm thinking of making a character specifically around using those two weapons. Like, I know I'm gonna have fun with that. Like, I have no doubt about it. So I really did want to use this anti-shade though, man, because the Farron Greatsword is so cool, but I don't know, we'll see. Like, that character might still stick around. But I'm mostly interested in okay, I'm sorry, and then the fourth weapon is that I forgot the name of the it's the great bow. You know what I'm talking about, the Millwood great bow. I think that's what it's called. I'll have to look at it again. But yes, that Millwood great bow is another weapon I'm looking forward to for a very specific character. So yeah, there's some stuff I'm looking forward to in this game. But of course, I like the idea of all the weapons making an appearance, because that's more stuff I get to fight against. Like, I like having different and unique opponents. Like, it's really fun. So I'm looking forward to everything. But I'm talking about specifically for me, the stuff I want to get my hands on. You heard it first. Like, definitely those crow quills and that sword and shield of valor. Oh yeah, and another thing, I was talking about cryomancy or frostbite. For now, I'm just going to call it frostbite. Like the types of spells and weapons that inflict frostbite. Now, those are getting the obvious buff. I discussed it in another previous video that it's this huge mystery behind exactly what that kind of school of magic or ability is, and it seems like we're going to get answers. I wasn't sure at first, but it looks like we're finally going to get some answers, so that's one of the things I'm looking forward to, and I'm definitely going to use it. Like, and that's another thing. I can finally make an Outrider night, a competitive Outrider night, I'm thinking. But the one thing I'm wondering is Frozen Weapon going to have the same limitation as the other weapon buffs, where if a weapon already has like an inherent ability or it's already buffed with something that you can't buff it. I'm wondering if that's going to be a thing, because what I'm thinking is it would be cool to be able to buff the weapons that inflict frostbite with Frozen Weapon. That would obviously make frostbite better. Like, it would actually make it competitive. And then, of course, kind of buffing frostbite a little bit. Poison. Come on, poison needs to be buffed. I'm thinking that they might wait until the next DLC to do that. But I don't know. I feel like poison should be buffed just a little bit. Like, if not the damage that it does, at least, like, the application. Like, make it poison easier to get on people, because at this point, like, it's not even it's not even good. Like, I don't know. I think poison needs a lot of help. Yeah, but okay, so the Crow Quills is something that I'm looking forward to. We already discussed the animations. Like, I can't say specifically what they're doing with that, but if it's what I think it is, where they're gonna make some changes to like a lot of the repulse and the weapon swings and stuff, so they're not all the same, and especially, please, like, that you're not stabbing people with a scythe. Like, that'll definitely be cool. Like, I would definitely like look forward to something like that. Okay. So the discussion, like, to be honest, like, the discussion was over like a long time ago. Like, this is rant territory. So I finally gave everybody a discussion, but now I want to get into like a lot of stuff that has me like really excited and salty. But this is going to be my rant. So the discussion's over. Thanks for joining me today. If you don't want to hear me rant, the discussion's over. Now it's just going to be basically, oh boy, it's going to be me ranting. Okay. Yeah, because I didn't want to keep talking. Like, the thing is once I started kind of just expressing how I feel, like, the cheating, man, like, and again, like, I hate the fact that I keep second guessing myself. Like, I'm just gonna be straight up. I know something's going on. Like, I'm not sure what it is, and I'm not gonna pretend to. Like, I've never used cheat engines, so I don't know what stuff does. But I'm pretty competent in Dark Souls to know when something's off, because I really trained. Like, the eye that I have for stuff is different, I would say, than probably the average player, because of my play style. Like, I use characters specifically to take advantage of mechanical things. Not abuse, not mechanical abuse, but mechanical skills, like things that Dark Souls allows you to do because of how weapons work, the timing, the amount of animations or frames that something has. I don't get into frames like really heavy, but just like observation frames. I don't count frames. Like I don't do that. Not at this point. I don't. Because it's kind of no point, because lag is kind of a thing, and you would always have to make adjustments, and then kind of finding like when stuff starts and stops would be really boring. Like I don't want to be doing all that. I just want to kind of enjoy myself with the game. So I'm not counting frames. No, I'm absolutely not doing that. But I know something's off, and the fact that like that's the thing that's affecting like me having fun with the game right now, the way that I would have loved to with the arena coming out, it really kind of has me down, man. Because I really wanted to get in the arena and do some damage, but I don't know. Like I feel like my skill level took a hit. Because like now I'm kind of jaded, and it's one of the things where it's just like at first I had like this competitive edge where it's just like you're gonna get the best fight that I can possibly give you, buddy. But it's just like now I'm just like, is there really a point? Like if I'm just gonna get out ranged and my split second pinpoint accuracy timing isn't gonna have an effect. I'm just gonna lose. I'm never going to want to play in a way where I'm just attacking, recklessly. So the question is going to be, is Dark Souls still going to be for me? Even if I'm excited about the DLC. Is Dark Souls for me? And me questioning that really kind of has me discouraged at this point. I was so... Like, the anti-shade character was going to go so perfect with the fact that all this new stuff is coming out. Like, yeah, like for example, you see how I totally missed that, I don't know, like that was weird. I feel like I shouldn't have hit him there, but I should have hit him the other time. Anyway, but yeah, I kind of feel like a lot of stuff is just off, man. And I know the natural thing is to adapt, but it's just like, I like precision gameplay. And okay, so the question that I might have to ask is Dark Souls 3 for me? Even though I've went through the motions, I've done a review, I've done a complete Let's Play, I've actually, and this is the first Dark Souls where I have multiple characters? No, it's not. I would say it's the first Dark Souls where I have more than 2 characters, and they all get action. Like, not all of them, but three of the, I would say 5 or 6 characters that I had get a lot of action. So that goes to show you this is probably my favorite Dark Souls game. But now I have to ask, is Dark Souls for me? As much as I've invested in the game, I have to start asking these questions. Oh boy. Yeah, is it for me? And I'm kind of afraid that the answer, as much as I don't like it, might actually be no. No, it's not. Excuse me. As much as I would like to do with the game, as far as I would like to push the boundaries of its potential, is it for me? And there was a time when I was willing to accept the fact that maybe just going through the story mode and just kind of enjoying the PvE might be the limit from which I can enjoy Dark Souls. And maybe PvP might not be a thing, that I kind of dedicate time to. Like, I was ready to accept that. But then, as you recall the latest video about the patch update, I don't know. I think it was the 1.9 regulation patch. Yeah, once that see. Now, this is the thing. The S-Stocks never worked for me. Like, not the way he's using it, like... Okay, I want to watch this. Yeah, the S-Stock's never been a roll-catching type tool for me. Which I thought was really weird. Like, he was really using that thing. Like, I guess there's a lot for me to learn with that weapon. But, yeah, he was using it like a roll-catching weapon. And it's just like, I don't... As much as I use that stock, like, I felt like that's one of its most terrible qualities is roll catching, but I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot about this game that I just don't know for some reason. Like I thought I did, but what do you know? There's some stuff. Like, okay, so for example, this guy. Oh, that was just mean. But yeah, this guy here, like, I have a suspicion that he was cheating. Because I kind of feel like, for the way Dark Souls 3 is, he's way too comfortable with that short ranged weapon. And as you can see, like, he's totally naked. Well, not totally, he has on a helmet. But I'm doing, like, no damage. It looked like he's so aggressive, like, whoom, he comes down. I don't know, like, I kind of really feel like this dude was cheating. But he might not have been, like, it might be some mechanics about Dark Souls I just don't know. But it's just like, look how aggressive he is, like, and look how much damage that thing does. Like, I don't know. Like, oh, that right there, like, I don't know. No, I'm gonna leave it alone. I don't want to be accusing people of stuff like that. Oh my goodness, I can't watch it, man. It's just like, that's exactly why I have the mindset that I have now. It's just like, at this point, I'm just like, what's the point? You know, at this point, I'm like, what's the point? All of the hours I sunk into trying to master spacing and certain weapons, it's like, what's the point? One thing I can say though, and this is one thing I'm kind of proud of, with the anti-shade character that you're watching fight right now, oh man, I get totally like demolished in this fight. But yeah, the anti-shade character you see I'm fighting with now, like, I've never lost when someone invaded me. I mean that specifically, like, when they come into my world, say you're being invaded by so-and-so, I've won every fight. And I don't know, like, that's the one time I get passionate, is because I lost so many fights, so many invasions in my Let's Play that I'm kind of really salty about when somebody invades me. Like, oh no, you don't, buddy. You know, because this character is so powerful, I kind of feel like there's no excuse why I should lose, and so I don't. Like, I have not lost one person who invaded me. Like, it's never happened. I've won every time somebody invaded my world. You know, like, whether it was them saying, oh, I can't beat this guy and jumping off a cliff, excuse me, or just getting totally just destroyed. Like, it's even been, like, for the most part, they're real invasions. Like, even though I'll duel people most of the time, because, you know, I love PvP so much. Even though most of the time I would be dueling people, like, you could tell it was an invasion because, like, the guys would, like, drink Estus and stuff like that. Even though I bowed to them and all that, like, oh, I'm not interested. Like, well, I mean, after a while, like, they would probably, like, bow to me or, like, do the little high gesture. But as soon as, like, they started losing, like, they would drink Estus. They're like, oh, no, I'm not about to lose to you. And so it became a legit invasion, so I would treat it like one. But I don't know, it was just, it's just interesting that, out of all of the fights that I absolutely cannot win with this character, when it comes to somebody invading my world, 100% victory. Like, I've never lost. So I know it's silly. I know it's absolutely silly, but that's the bright side. It's just, with this character, like, as far as somebody invading my world, like, never lost, and don't plan on it. Like, I plan on going 100% no losses when somebody invades my world with this character. Unless, of course, I have no choice because, like, lag is just absolutely atrocious, or they're cheating. So now this is a fight that I actually enjoyed because this dude was being a prick. And strong magic shield, I might have to really test it out. Like, I didn't know that it did damage reduction and stability, so that's cool. Like, he was just being a jerk. Like, he could have killed me like so many times, but I guess he wanted to finish it off fancy. So I started kind of getting that competitive spirit back, where I'm just like, oh, okay, well, yeah, let me show this guy what's up. Yeah, like he could have parried me there and all that, but he chose not to. It just killed me. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure what was happening here. Oh, he should have known. I thought that was strange. Like, I thought he would be paying attention to his stamina, but the strong magic shield wore off. Okay, I get it now. Like, I didn't know what happened before. I was like, wait a minute, what? Why'd I break his guard? Like, obviously he should know that I would be able to break his guard. But man, strong magic shield is strong. Okay, but all right. This has been Inconsequential Souls, and I guess I'll leave off with the invasions that I tell you about. Like, nobody's winning these. Like, I lose everything else, but I'm not losing to somebody who invades my world. So, alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the arena, hopefully. And hopefully I'll be competitive too. Like, I hope I get my competitive spirit back. But until then, I'll see you next time. And I'll see you in the next one too. Alright, later.